Do you want to go back? Bop! I'm tougher than you. Now you do it as I say. Neil the Crazy Inventor here. Again, I call myself an amateur historian, and the reason that I call myself an amateur historian is because I don't always look at the exact dates of things. I look at events and what occurred between events and how they kind of unfolded through history in order to see a certain picture. If I were to be working on an invention, I'm going to have the different steps that led up to the success or failure of that invention. And so what has led up to the success or failure of society in general. So I go back, I'll take you back about, here again, I'm not going to go with exact dates, so don't hold me, they could be wrong. So I'm going to go back a million years, and man was, pretty much in the caves, and what was they doing there? They go, pop! Ha! I'm tougher than you, so that means you're going to have to do what I tell you to do. So you then fast forward to about 10,000 years ago, so a hell of a lot of years have passed. And what are they doing? They're doing, pop! Ha! I'm tougher than you. You have to do what I tell you to do. And at that point, what are they inventing? What is their societies like? Well, they build things with big rocks. Okay. How about inventions? There are a few, and I'll take that up another time because it really pisses me off that they didn't let those few out to the public, because the public would have used them for good, but the powers to be, government, church, use those inventions against the people. So let's just go back to saying they invented almost nothing, except for things that would help them destroy their own people. Anyway, okay, so that was 10,000 years ago. So now let's go back 2021 years. That's the year that they say Jesus died. Rome's in power. What are they doing? Pop! Ha! I'm tougher than you. You got to do what I do, or what I tell you to do. Okay. What do they have? They've got the wheel, horse, pull them around in a wagon. Chariot, wagon, same thing. Big rock walls. I'm thinking. Nothing. Okay. Let's go back, what did we say? About 700 years ago. We're in the Middle Ages. And what are we doing? Pop! Ha! I'm tougher than you. You're going to do what I tell you to do. They actually did. One man invent the printing press. And as an inventor, I know how important information is, accurate information. It should instantaneously change the world. With information, people can invent. Their imagination goes wild when they have information. But because they were beating each other up and saying, I'm tougher than you, and not worrying about actually trying to help each other, we got almost nothing. So now you fast forward until 1776. Well, in 1776, something happened that had never happened before in the entire history of the world. I just took you back through history. That was it, with very few little changes between societies. So in 1776, What happened? Well, we all know the Declaration of Independence, and America was born. Okay, so what is the Declaration of Independence? Well, it's just a piece of paper saying that the government and religion cannot tell us what to do. That's what the piece of paper says. I mean, you can go through the whole thing, and they spell it out, and they do extremely well, unbelievably well. But remember, I told you in my other video that I've looked at documents, and the most important part is what it boils down to. And though that document says that no, government and religion, we're not going to listen to you no more, because all you've been doing is bopping each other over the head, and we're going to try to do it another way. We're going to try to actually help each other rather than just beat the shit out of each other and tell each other what to do. Well, that led to, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, magnificent documents. And then when people talk about America, they talk about America in those three documents. Well, I'm going to argue as an inventor, and I think rightfully so, I'm going to argue that there was one other event that made America become the greatest history in all of mankind in less than 250 years. You can argue we did it in 150 years. We were freaking kicking Europe's ass in the early 1900s. We were kicking the whole world's ass. So how did we go from bopping each other over the head for the last million years? I'm being kind. I almost used a word that I shouldn't use. In the last million years, and then in 200 years, invent the greatest society of all times. There is inventions today that happen in one day, more inventions than happened in the last million years. More inventions in one day. And those inventions are designed to help your fellow man. Well, the fourth thing, fourth thing that happened was the Patent Office. Why is the U.S. Patent Office so important? There was other patent offices. So why was this one important? Well, this one was important because for the first time in history, the ability of the individual person who had very little money could afford to get a patent because it cost almost nothing. So that meant that I'm working on a farm and, there's something that I need to accomplish and I don't have a tool to do it. And man, without it, it's almost impossible for me to do it. And I picked farmers on purpose because, for one thing, they go back through history a hell of a long ways. And they're good, unbelievably hardworking people and creative people. They have to be if they're even going to survive. So I'm a farmer and I've got a problem and I need to fix this problem, so I fix it. Well, in the past, there's actually people who were put to death for doing that. So if you did it, you didn't tell anybody, or you didn't do it at all. So either way, it didn't help the society out. So even if I wanted to get a patent, it would cost me so much money. I don't have it. So if you actually look back through history, go on your search engines, and you'll look at patents prior to 1792, I believe is the exact year, right in there, when the U.S. Patent Office was founded. Go back from there, and there's almost no patents. Why? Why is there almost no patents? Well, The average person couldn't afford it. So the big guys, which would be these days Google, YouTube, Amazon, whatever, you know the game. They would be the only ones that could afford the patents. So therefore, they needn't bother to get patents. Nobody could take it from them. And if some little guy did something and they were going to use it, they'd just grab it anyway. So no patents. And then in 1792, all of a sudden, each year, more and more and more patents came out. Well, with each one of those patents is just a person like you, like me, who saw a problem and figured it out. Hey, we just saw something on TV about a device that goes on the face of a person, and it's almost like a plunger, and you push it in and pull it out, and it pulls out whatever is stuck in your throat so you don't choke to death. Wow! Simple. What amazing. Just a normal guy who's a paramedic and said, hey, we got a problem here. Let's solve it. So he solved it. I don't know if he got himself a patent. I'm sure he did. I didn't see it on the commercial. But the point is that not only did he solve the problem for himself, but he was able to help out millions or more people. So by helping out millions or more people, he helped himself out spiritually, financially, physically. And at that point, he can now do more for other people. So our very system is based on helping the other person out. Right now, we're being taught that we're horrible and that we need to be destroyed because we're the worst thing that's ever happened. So let's look a little bit further ahead to where they want to take us and see if that's really where we want to go. In the socialist system, which is a system that they're telling us is the more humane way to go. I'm going to let you decide for yourself. I'll probably give you my opinion. I'm sure I will. But you make sure that you decide for yourself how you want this to turn out. Okay? And anybody who's watching this and wants to teach it to somebody else, please forward this on to them. I mean, I'm going to use the word liberal. Liberal leaders are evil. But the people are good. They're very, very good. So we can't attack them. We have to communicate with them in such a way that they do not feel threatened, and they will receive the information that we're putting in, and we allow them to make their own decision. It is not up to us to have them make the decision we want them to make. It's up to us to get the information in and then allow them to make the decision. That's part of communicating with people who don't agree with us, and vice versa. We should listen to some things that they have to say. But let me finish this off first. Where do they want to take us? Okay. In the socialist system, which is the liberal system, the communist system, they're all one and the same. One just a little more than the other, and it all leads to communism. So in that system, they tell you at gunpoint, don't forget that, okay? It's at gunpoint. You don't have a choice, so it's a gunpoint. You turn over all your money, everything you own, everything you ever will own, including your children, and we'll then distribute everybody's stuff so everybody's equal. But if you don't agree with me, I'm going to kick your ass. Bam! You do what I tell you to do. Does it sound familiar? Make up your own mind. Do you want to go back to the Holocaust and the Inquisitions? The only reason there's a different name between the two is one's on the left and one's on the right. They're the same goddamn thing. Do you want to go back there? Because that's what communism, socialism, liberalism is taking us to. It's taking us right back. They're telling us that it is a new system. Bop, I'm tougher than you. You do what I tell you to do. Or, hey, dude, I just figured out how to do this. Give me a couple of bucks, man. It could, I figured it out. It took me 2 or 3 years to do so for a couple of bucks. I'll give you a perfect example. I have some basketball programs on how to train for basketball. When I was a kid, I didn't have a father per se, so he didn't teach me how to play basketball. I had to learn on my own, and that meant that I did a heck of a lot of things wrong. And finally, when I figured it out, I put it down on paper, and I'm just telling the story quickly, and I wrote out the different exercises and drills that I did. Well, one of those programs that I wrote was called two-hand domination. And two-hand domination is a program, as you know in basketball, the better you are with both hands, the better off you're going to be. But most people are really strong with one hand or really strong with the other and weak vice versa. Well, this program taught the kids how to use their weak hand, how to develop it, how to strengthen it, how to do the things that you need to do. Well, it's really not complicated, but I went ahead and wrote it because it took me years to figure it out. I then sold the program for $4, and some years went by, and a gentleman called me up, a father who's also a coach, and talked to me about the different programs. He told me he absolutely loved Mental Power. He told me that he loved the other ones, but he wondered about two-hand domination. And so I told him, and I thanked him for telling me that he really liked the other programs and that they helped him a lot, especially Mental Power. And I thanked him for that. And then I told him, and as far as two-hand domination goes, I spent, probably 7 or 8 years figuring out exactly how to go about developing my left hand. It turned out it was super simple, but I figured that for $4, I could save the kids 7 years, 6 years, 7 years. And the man says, you got a point. That's what America's about. You figure something out, you shorten the time, give them an ability to do it easier, enhance someone else's life, you enhance your own life. Decide for yourself. Do you want to go back? Bop! I'm tougher than you. Now you do it as I say. Thank you. I'm Neil, the crazy inventor, telling you that I love each and every human being on this planet, and I want you to be free. Please heed this warning. Do not let them take us back to Bop. I'm tougher than you. And that brings us to You're Amazing, and I'll prove it. My book that asks questions the way I did today and lets things flow out the way that I did today, and you decide for yourself. And by the end of the book, you have decided that you are as good as any other human being on this planet. And at the same time, everybody else is magnificent too. And working together, we don't have to go back to Bop. I'm tougher than you. We can work together but it starts with you. You're amazing, and I will prove it. Simple analogies to unlock your life. Thank you.
To learn more about Neil G. Brownell's book, You're Amazing, and I'll Prove It, click on the link below. If you like this video, please hit the like button and hit subscribe to get more You're Amazing videos.
You're amazing, and I'll prove it. One young man's journey from being a slave to being self-sufficient. Simple analogies to unlock your life.